Chapter 12. The next day, I entered Mrs. Hinckley's classroom, feeling much better after our previous conversation. I had given some thought to her words the day before, and I had come to the conclusion that I agreed with most, though not all, of what she had shared. I felt like it had to do with my recent craving for community and relationship. If I had a real relationship with someone, not just based on shallow, passing conversation, but founded on trust and sharing life together, I would greatly value the thoughts and feelings they shared. Not only that, but Father had taught me more about grace that afternoon. The Spirit's grace is all around us, not only in the present but the past and the future. This grace goes before us, paving the way to do His work. This grace was with us before we even knew Him. It's the same for all those with whom we're called to share His love. Many believers have been arrogant enough to forget about this grace. In their minds, the salvation of the world hung on their words alone. This grace has the power to soften hardened hearts and open closed minds. Don't ever underestimate that power. I decided to trust in grace to work on the hearts of those around me, and His guidance in making friendships. I sat down at my table in the science classroom and looked up at Mrs. Hinckley. She gave me a reassuring smile, which I returned with an understanding nod. The remainder of the students had arrived and were getting seated when Mrs. Hinckley called out,
"Don't get too comfortable, folks. Most of you won't be staying where you're seated. You'll be getting a new seat."
The rest was interrupted by the bell. She waited impatiently throughout the duration, then finished.
"You'll be getting new seating arrangements based on your designated partners."
She picked up a sheet of paper from her desktop.
"Everyone please stand with your bags, and I will call out your names and direct you to your new tables. Then you will know who your partners are. You may quietly whisper amongst yourselves until I assign your spot."
She stood at the front left table, directly facing her desk.
"Mario and Isabella here. Sarah and Edmund here.
The next table was that nearest the door.
Corban and Henri."
I made my way up to the table. Henri sat in the chair nearest the door, so I took the left-hand spot. I sat down and retrieved a notebook and pencil from my bag. I turned to see him watching me.
"Henri."
He extended his hand. I shook it firmly.
Corban.
I smiled. He turned to retrieve his own supplies from his bag, which looked much older than my own, and had the name Lewis stitched into the side. He pulled out a notebook and placed it before him. I immediately noticed his notebook said Henry on the front in bold black letters. I was instantly curious, as well as a bit confused.
"Oh, do you have a brother named Henry?"
He followed my gaze to his notebook, then burst out laughing. He tried to smother the outburst with his hand, throwing a worried look to the teacher, but it didn't help much.
"Was it that funny what I said? And why does your bag have the name Louis on it?"
You're not the only one who has trouble with people mispronouncing their names. Corban.
What? How do you know people do that?
I sit in the back of Miss Lopez's homeroom. I don't blame you for not noticing me. It's only your third day of school. But you did make kind of a big deal about people not saying your name right. I get the same thing when people see my name written out.
He pointed to the name on the notebook.
Henri is how my name is pronounced. Henri is how it is spelled. It's a French name. Apparently, I share my name with some of my ancestors. And the bag says Louis on it because that is my grandpa's name, and it used to belong to him.
Your family is French?
He responded only with a simple nod and a furrowed brow, unsure why I was asking. I couldn't resist the urge to blurt out.
Parlez-vous français?
He chuckled lightly, then replied with a confident smirk.
Bien sûr. Je suis français.
of course. I am French. Before I could say more, Mrs. Hinckley addressed us again.
Okay, class. Now that everyone has had a chance to introduce themselves to their partners, let's get started in discussing your requirements for this experiment of ours. We'll only be studying trees and plants for another week or so, but you must continue the experiment for at least a whole year. It would be outstanding if you could continue taking measurements longer than that.
She continued explaining, but I couldn't help being distracted a little. I felt like life had been a cloudy day lately without me knowing, and just as unexpectedly, the sun had peeked out. I wasn't sure, but I thought perhaps I had just made a new friend, with more than a little help from Mrs. Hinckley.